Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my annual video predictions. Want to give my thoughts on what I think is going to happen for Better Call Saul Season 4. And spoiler warning, of course, if you are not caught up for Better Call Saul, which is up to the finale for Season 3. So I wanted to do this video. I know I promised you guys that I was going to do it in my finale review, which is Season 3, Episode 10 for Better Call Saul. Definitely wanted to get my thoughts on where I think they're going to go with the story next year because it's just such a fun show. I almost wish we could get more episodes of it, but I know that, you know, it's pretty difficult for them to do because it is a prequel and they don't want to catch up too quickly and there's only so many things they can do with it. So everything has to stay in line for it to match up with where Breaking Bad starts, of course. So really excited to eventually get to see the premiere for Season 4. That'll be next year. This year it started in April, but prior seasons it had started in February. So most likely for prediction, we're thinking that it'll probably start in April this year. It hasn't been 100% confirmed, but Vince Gilligan has said that you know, there is going to be a Season 4. It's just a question of when. He's pretty much certain. So if he says it, it's not like AMC's officially confirmed it, but it's basically confirmed for the most part. So with this one, I mean, just really excited to see what's going to happen with the show after the death of Chuck in the finale. That is, you know, assuming that he is 100% killed by this fire, which it looks like he for sure would be, you know, just from, you know, the look outside and what we get to see. So, you know, some really good questions for that and what that's going to do to Jimmy and how that changes the story. I think it was a really good choice for them to kill Chuck off at the end of Season 3 because you kind of need to move on from that, I think. I think they really used Chuck well. You know, you had a couple of finales with him. You had like the, you know, the click where he records the tape. You have the incident where he kind of has the mental breakdown. You have kind of the deterioration between him and Jimmy and their relationship once more because they've had trouble, you know, throughout their lives, and kind of this final crackdown is basically the end of their relationship. So for me, it was just like I'm really glad that they did, you know, kill Chuck off because as a character, because you know, I don't see what else you could do with him with a story without the story feeling stagnant and kind of repetitive, to have it keep going over again with Chuck and Jimmy and that. So moving on from that, I think we're going to see a huge change in Jimmy, and he's basically going to be, I want to say, a different character. He's going to become, you know, it'll be a catalyst for him to be Saul. It will push him even faster and further to become Saul more quickly, I think, than he has in the past. And we have seen some hints this season of the Saul character coming out of him, the way he kind of gets ideas to kind of help out when he's doing the community service, when he's filming the commercials. We can see it building and him kind of becoming more and more like Saul. But now I think with the death of his brother Chuck, that's got to push him probably most of the rest of the way. Like if he hasn't kind of gotten there yet, you know, what happens with his brother, the fact that he went to visit him first and maybe holding himself responsible for it and feeling like, you know, Chuck didn't want to see him, he wasn't mentally stable enough to see him. And then when Jimmy came, it was kind of like that was a catalyst for Chuck to, you know, his mental illness to just come back 100% full circle, for him to relapse and then for him to just commit suicide. Very brutal. So, you know, I'm thinking that Jimmy might hold himself responsible for that. He might feel guilty for that, and then he might change. You know, he might change quite a bit and kind of just stop caring whatsoever about trying to be the good guy or trying to do the right thing or, you know, anything like that because of what's happened so far. And for him trying to, maybe in the finale here, he's kind of in a state where he's trying to rectify things. He's fixing things with Irene and her friends, and I guess he's trying to kind of sort of fix things with Chuck, or at least make sure Chuck's okay. And you know, that trying to be the good guy thing just doesn't work for Jimmy. It doesn't work for Saul. And so I'm thinking he's probably going to be, you know, more Saul more quickly. And that could cause some problems between him and Kim, because Kim, it seems to me, doesn't really like that side of Jimmy. She likes Jimmy and she admires Jimmy for who, you know, Jimmy is deep down, but she doesn't like this side of Jimmy where he kind of is untrustworthy and he's doing things that are illegitimate that you shouldn't do. He's got himself in trouble. He's caused her to get overloaded with work, and so she hurts herself with the car crash, so she may resent him for it. So we'll have to see how the relationship with him and her go, but of course we know it can't, you know, last all the way through. When this series ends, Kim and Jimmy have to be on different pages. They can't be together. They can't be on the same page. They can't be it just can't be like that. You know, we know that from Breaking Bad, you know, Jimmy or Saul Kim does not exist in that. So there must be a falling out here somewhere, either in season 4, maybe season 5. We don't know if the show's ever going to get a season 6. We're just not sure. From what I've heard from interviews, it sounds like maybe a couple more is all they can really do, and then the show is pretty much used up. It will catch up to where Breaking Bad is, and then we'll have to see if they want to do a season with Jimmy after the events of Breaking Bad, which personally I would like to see. I just don't know what they would do with it, with him as Gene, I suppose. So not really excited to see, you know, Kim and Jimmy and how that all breaks down, because I really like to see their relationship. I like to see how they, interact with each other, and how Kim is supportive of him. If she is to leave and he doesn't have that kind of support, you know, what's going to happen with him? And, we can quickly start to see if that happens. And now that Chuck's gone, him kind of, connecting the dots, so to speak, between where Jimmy is right now and where Saul is in terms of morals and ethics and just lifestyle, that kind of connecting quickly. So there's that. There's question of inheritance with, Chuck, and whether or not he's going to leave anything to Jimmy. I would think him being a lawyer, he'd be right on top of his will. He'd be right on top of all that kind of stuff, and for himself. So I'm thinking maybe he could leave everything to his ex-wife, who also doesn't like Jimmy. So we'll have to see maybe if that's the case. He should have quite a bit. We know Howard wrote him pretty hefty check there. We don't know if he would get the other parts of that. But, the question, comes in is he going to leave anything at all to Jimmy? And I would say, as a prediction, I don't think he will. I don't think Jimmy's going to get next to anything. He might get a little bit, but I don't think he's going to get almost anything from Chuck. The house was pretty much destroyed beforehand, but he must have lots of cash with what Howard paid him, just the first one, which I'm not even sure if he's cashed it or deposited yet, and all the legal ramifications of how that whole thing goes. I tend to think that Jimmy's probably still going to have money problems, and because for him to become Saul, he can't be a responsible, financially independent person that's like worth millions of dollars, like a millionaire or something from inheritance or something. It wouldn't make sense from the narrative perspective, so the story can't work that way. So somehow, but it also makes sense too that Chuck would want to leave Jimmy anything, and if he doesn't, then Jimmy's going to have to kind of grind, and figure it out and do things that morally he doesn't want to do, and he will have to do in order to pay and to survive. So I'm thinking that to see more of that Saul side of him, he should be in a more state of scarcity rather than a millionaire prosperity. But it's possible too that he may get some, because there is the Sandpiper case and all the other stuff going on too. He may get some, and then he might blow it or something. So we'll see. So you could go that route too. You could have him get some, become a millionaire, and then blow it all, because we could see Jimmy doing something like that, I think. Which makes a lot of sense. The stuff with HHM. So I'm not sure how much we're going to see Howard in the show now. Since Chuck is gone, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Howard. I would hate to see in the end something like Howard find out what happened to Kim and then get back together with Kim or something, and then convince Kim that Jimmy's no good for her. And especially, I would really hate to see the two get romantically involved. That I would really hate to see. But even in the beginning of the series, I kind of thought like, okay, it kind of made sense if you'd have the two together. But I'd hate to see it so much. I definitely would not want to see them do that. So I'm really hoping that's not where they go with it, but I'm just not sure what they're going to do with Howard now and how he's going to be factored into the story after kind of all the stuff with Chuck is resolved after his death and everything. So, but there is still the Sandpiper case, so they could still have him kind of interact with Jimmy over stuff like that, and maybe be in a few episodes or something. But I can't see him being as much of a concentration as he was before, which I think is also a good thing, because he's kind of a character from that earlier kind of story with Chuck and all the other stuff that was happening in Better Call Saul that I personally don't really want to see too much anymore. I feel like they need to kind of, Jimmy's a lawyer, so it's going to be part of it, but I don't think they need to have so much with HHM anymore after Chuck's gone. The stuff with Gus, Hector, and Mike. So we haven't seen Mike for a little bit now, briefly near the finale there, but he hasn't done a whole lot recently. But I am looking forward to seeing what happens with Gus and Mike now that Hector's kind of out of the picture. Now that Hector's sort of out of the picture, I'm thinking that Gus and Mike and the others might start to build the empire that we see Los Pollos Hermanos in Breaking Bad. So to see Gus, become like a huge drug lord. He's already pretty big as it is, but to see him become even bigger and kind of before Walter shows up, just become like huge. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. That should all be good stuff to see. We know, of course, where that ends as well too. But it'll be cool to kind of see Gus and Mike and maybe Lydia in there too, and them kind of building this huge thing and get this good thing going, as Mike called it, before Walter shows up. So looking forward to seeing that. So hopefully a couple more good seasons of Better Call Saul. Really love the show. Gonna miss it when it eventually ends in a few years, but I think there's only so much they can do with it, and it'll be fun to see kind of a conclusion for Jimmy in the end, and to see maybe what happens to him after the events of Breaking Bad. I think that should be what they should save for the finale, so we get to see if eventually he does get caught and end up behind bars or something, the Cinnabon, pass out and the whole thing. So those are my video predictions on where I think the story is going for Season 4 for Better Call Saul. I can't wait to see it return. I won't be doing too many more videos for it. Maybe the only other one is like, do we think that Kim could be killed off in Better Call Saul? If she doesn't have some kind of separation with Jimmy and conflict, then could she just simply be killed off at some point? I don't know. She's already had a near-death experience. So maybe that would be one where we could save for another video. But aside from that, don't have too many others. If you guys have any questions, you want me to do a Q&A for Better Call Saul leading up to Season 4 at any time, you can send me those questions. And if I get enough, I can do one. But yeah, that's it for what I'm thinking for Better Call Saul. Where do you guys think the story is going? Rate your comments below. If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share and favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I appreciate it, guys. You can subscribe to the bottom left. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.